Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa channel. Let's continue. The evening charity gala had just begun. The grand ballroom glittered beneath golden chandeliers, the soft hum of violins weaving through murmured laughter and the clinking of glasses. Every detail glowed with quiet perfection. Crystal vases lined the tables, petals floated in the fountain, and the scent of white lilies drifted through the air. Among the guests, Shi Yang stood near the balcony, calm and composed, yet his gaze seemed far away. As the crowd mingled, he checked his phone. A message blinked on the screen from his old friend, Guan Ji, who was at another gala across town. Guan had sent a stream of photos filled with radiant faces and bright smiles, teasing him for missing out on the beautiful women there. Shi Yang's thumb hovered over the keyboard before he sent a short reply. His expression didn't change, but something in his eyes flickered, an echo of fatigue, or maybe memory. Guan's words urged him to go out, to enjoy himself, to stop living like a man made of silence and restraint. Shi Yang read every line, yet none reached him. The truth was simple. He wasn't avoiding people. He was avoiding a feeling. Every face he saw blurred into one he couldn't forget. The orchestra shifted to a slow melody, and the dance floor filled with motion and color. Shi Yang's reflection in the tall glass window appeared distant, almost ghost-like. The lights outside shimmered like stars caught in the city haze. He placed his phone in his pocket, exhaled softly, and let the music fade through him. For a fleeting second, he thought he felt her presence again, somewhere between the notes, between the breaths, between what was gone and what still remained. The foundation of modern financial control rests on three central mechanisms. First, the authority to create and circulate currency remains the deepest core of global power. Throughout history, private institutions masked as public entities have shaped monetary systems that operate on perpetual debt. By issuing credit-backed money, they quietly shift wealth from societies to concentrated elites, maintaining a cycle where nations borrow endlessly just to sustain growth. The structure appears orderly on the surface, yet beneath it lies a network of policies designed to keep the flow of currency dependent on interest and repayment. Second, global economic downturns often reveal themselves as deliberate resets rather than natural occurrences. Financial markets, driven by massive capital movements, follow a predictable rhythm: inflate assets, amplify optimism, and then trigger collapse to reclaim value at minimal cost. This recurring process, quietly orchestrated under the guise of market correction, allows the few who control liquidity to harvest wealth while entire populations face austerity. Third, advocates for a return to commodity-based systems propose that gold, with its limited supply and intrinsic worth, could restore balance to global finance. They argue that tangible value could restrict reckless monetary expansion and protect currencies from political interference. Yet, critics contend that no system, gold or otherwise, is immune to manipulation. History, after all, evolves not through single forces but through intersecting motives, political ambition, technological change, and human greed alike. The truth lies not in conspiracy, but in the intricate dance of power that defines every age of money. The conference continued with a seamless transition to the next presentation. The audience shifted, whispering among themselves as the moderator announced the upcoming topic: an analysis of financial influence across 19th century Europe. The screen displayed names, figures, and excerpts from research papers. Among them, one name caught Shi Yang's attention: Zhang. A memory surfaced. He had once read a foreign publication that explored the same theme, elegantly written, detailed, and sharp in perspective. It was her work. The realization settled in slowly. The award-winning speaker earlier, who had captivated the crowd with her clarity and poise, was none other than Zheng Shui. The moment he saw her name on the program, a quiet recognition flickered through him. She wasn't just another voice in the field. She was someone whose ideas had once stayed with him long after the page had closed. When she appeared near the stage, the room's atmosphere shifted. Colleagues and guests surrounded her with congratulations. She smiled graciously, yet her eyes met his for the briefest second before moving on. It was an exchange that said nothing yet held everything unsaid. The flashback faded. On stage, Yu Xingzhou stood at the podium, nervously presenting the cost structure analysis. His tone wavered, words stumbling over each statistic. In the middle of the tense silence, Shi Yang's phone vibrated. A message appeared from Shui. It was brief, calm, and unmistakably her. He rose quietly from his seat. A colleague called after him, but he didn't turn back. Sometimes, reason yielded to instinct, and in that moment, his path was already chosen. The meeting came to an abrupt end, leaving the air thick with tension and half-spoken words. One last plea echoed in her memory, an emotional cry for another chance, though pride had already taken the place of forgiveness. Somewhere in that mix of frustration and care, she told herself that no one so shallow deserved her envy. The conference room emptied quickly, papers gathered, chairs pushed back, and for a fleeting second, everything between them felt unfinished. This flashback was shorter than the usual moments she replayed in her mind, but it carried the same weight. Before they were together, Shi Yang had been the cold, untouchable CEO, aloof and composed, a man who dismissed beauty as something fleeting. Yet after their relationship began, he had become unexpectedly tender, his quiet nature giving way to small acts of affection that even he couldn't explain. The once serious man now found himself admiring her every glance, every expression, as if trying to memorize them all. The author's notes slipped in like a playful break in the story, admitting a forgotten dialogue, a missing connection restored at last. It was both a reminder and an apology to those who followed their tale so closely. Shi Yang leaned back in his seat, a sigh escaping him before he lowered it completely. Her sudden protest stopped him, voice trembling with both concern and something softer. He smiled faintly, the warmth between them unspoken but understood. Next episode preview. The little fox and her lion share a quiet evening at the cinema, where light, laughter, and the scent of popcorn weave into the beginning of something gentler.